Is this thing on? I think we're on. Good morning, guys. Um, Depending on, I guess, when you watch this is Wednesday morning, 5:30 in the morning where I'm at. Got a little insomnia. Can't really fall back asleep, and so I figured I'd go online and share with you guys something that I've been thinking about just now. This is what keeps me up early in the morning. Oh, wow. People are awake. Oh, I guess there's people from all over the world. Good morning, Salty Christian and Poo Poo Poo. So, I have this idea for a series of videos that I want to try. You've probably seen social experiments, you've seen people showing up to campuses all across the country, free hugs. These kinds of things where you go up to a public place, you have a sign, and something happens. And I was like, how can I how can I engage in more conversations with people and do some kind of content that works for this channel and it would be a little deeper and more meaningful. And so here's my idea. I'd like your help with this because I want to know, is this the kind of is this something that would be interesting to you or not? I'm interested to know if you have any ideas for this concept. But here's my general idea. Let's say I show up to a college campus and I have a sign that says something like free lunch, or like have a free meal on me, or something along those lines, where I basically show up, here's my sign, and I try and find someone who has like a half an hour or an hour spare time and just needs a free meal. And then have a conversation about just their life, whether they're Christian or non-Christian. I think it would actually be very interesting if they're non-Christians or if they're part of like another world religion or something like that. And basically ask them questions like, hey, what is your experience with religion? Like, do you trust the church? And if so, why? If not, why not? The goal of this video would kind of be to build relationships with people in the community, to be able to listen to people, not talk over, to basically show that I'm interested in them as a person, not so much just for the conversion or ministry aspect, but really just trying to pull their story from them. Someone said, be interested in someone above their conversion. Something interesting. Ask them questions like, what is something that frustrates you with the church? What's a good experience with religion that you've had? And just try and have like a real conversation with someone. And sometimes the conversations that are real could be real messy. Like they might have had all kinds of good reasons to hate religion or hate Christianity or whatever the case is. I believe that the world would be a better place if we had more authentic and more compassionate conversations. Compassionate, I think, is probably the operative word. I think the world would be a better place if we had more compassionate conversations with people who believed differently than we do, than I do, at least. That's something that I strive for on this channel, is to help bridge the gap between what could be viewed as a very judgmental and angry and arrogant type of faith to the kind of faith that I believe Jesus demonstrated, a patient and compassionate and loving kind of faith, the kind of faith that said, even if there's something that's going on with you that I don't agree with, I still see you as a human being, as someone that's valuable and important, that is worth listening to, that's worth paying attention to. So I want to know, is that kind of series of videos, would that be interesting to you? How do you respond to that idea? would you watch something like that? And if maybe you can help me think of questions that would be good to ask people, or even a name for the series. Maybe, yeah, I don't know what the name of the series could be. I know that my mind is not really like functioning fully right now. It's like super early in the morning. Mad Love says that he hasn't even gone to sleep yet. Dude, you're crazy. Aren't you on the East Coast too? It's like 9 in the morning over there. You're crazy. Says, I think there's definitely something there in that idea. Daniel, what would you do? What kind of questions would you ask? If you let me put it this way. If you could ask a person a question, not necessarily a person of faith. Let's imagine that person is an atheist, a Buddhist, Muslim. Maybe they are Christian. Maybe they're a former Christian. Maybe they're brand new to the church. Maybe I don't know. What kind of question would you want to ask that kind of person? My hair is all wet because I just took a shower trying to wake up. April says, I think it's a really good idea. I would watch it. I would much rather watch you do it than someone like Mark Dice. I don't know who Mark Dice is. Oh, great question, Mad Love. I'd be genuinely interested to hear skeptics' idea on how to fix Christianity. Let me write that down. I like that. Good idea. I like that idea. Yeah, I think it would be interesting to hear the outsider's perspective on religion or Christianity. Should I frame my questions asking about religion or asking about Christianity? So, what is your experience with religion, or what is your experience with Christianity? Is there a difference between those two kinds of questions? Both. What evidence do you need in order to know there is a God? I like that question, Daniel. My initial response would be that I don't know that fits the tone of what I'm trying to do, because I don't want these conversations to be like, oh, I have an ulterior motive, as in like I'm trying to convert you after the fact. I want this conversation to be much more about I'm listening to you and I want to know your story, more than I hear your story, now let me cut to the chase, like we do a lot in the church. Not that's necessarily bad or evil, but I think that's just not the feel of what I'm trying to go. Yeah, it is a little apologetic-y. Jerome's vote is for Christianity. Semilog's vote is for both. So what if I ask the question? So the question is, should I ask questions like, what is your experience with religion, or what is your experience like Christianity? For those of you who are saying both, does that mean I ask the question, so tell me a little bit, what is your experience with religion or Christianity or the church in general? Something like that. So it like covers all the bases, and if they want to dive into Christianity, they're given permission's not the right word, but they're free to do that. Okay, something like that. Okay, that makes sense. I like this idea. I mean, I feel like one of the things that I really want to do more for myself is to have conversations with different people. I want to build relationships with the community, the proverbial community. I think that's just, what does that even mean? I want to meet people that I've never met before and hear their stories, and I want to learn from them, I guess is what I want to do. It's been a roller coaster ride. I've gotten a rude awakening to the reality of the church. Yeah, I get that. I feel like that's kind of the journey that I'm on too. Um I love the Lord as best as I know how. I think I'm as committed as I possibly can imagine being to mission of the church and the kingdom and all these different kinds of things. But I struggle with organized religion, as it were. I don't know if that's the appropriate phrase. I struggle with trying to know what's the value of church as it's seen in North America. Like, I know that God says it's important, and I want to believe and to trust Him, but a lot of times I struggle with that. And I think that there's a lot of people out there that feel similarly, that maybe on some more intuitive level, they say, I believe that God exists, but I just don't know why that matters. Those are the kinds of conversations I'd like to really have with people. I think that would be really eye-opening. I think that'd be really interesting to hear that. I'm finding more and more the kinds of things that I'm interested in, and perhaps by extension the kinds of things that God is calling me to do on this channel, is to seek out uncomfortable conversations, to seek out relationships in which the church or Christianity normally doesn't have, right? Like my annual series on homosexuality. Where in the church are we doing that well? Having good conversations. Or the conversation I had with Pastor June, why did you leave the church? And what are you going through? Like, these are the kinds of conversations that to me are super, super important. Those are the kinds of questions I'd love to have more of, and those are the kinds of conversations, if there's a way to do it, for me to share that with you, that's kind of the dream. Dan says, I'm with you there. For me, I feel as though the church, and more importantly, the people, are almost exclusive and proud. Yeah, I can understand why you would say that, Dan. I don't think that that's an unfair opinion of the church. I think a lot of people have felt that way before. I know that I have felt that way, and even maybe feel that way. Like, I get that. So how do we change that? I guess is my follow-up question. How do we change that perception that the church is a country club for members only, and you're not allowed because you're not cool enough or you're not holy enough? How do we change the stigma of Christianity as one of, oh, you don't belong here and we're better than you? How do we change that? Making church about God again? What do you mean by that? How would that change something? Because I would argue that a lot of churches do believe that they are about God. I mean, why else do they exist? I would argue that many people who are in church, that's entirely what they're trying to do. And yet they might still come across as us versus them. Church is a hospital for the broken, not a museum for the perfect. Cool line, Daniel. Explain. I mean, I think I get what you're going through, or what you're getting at, but give me a little bit more. Moonlight says it starts with us. I think so. So what are you doing about it, Moonlight? What am I doing about it, for that question? How am I seeking to tear down the wall that exists between the church and the world? Because I think we have tried to build up walls to protect us from the world, right? We put up walls to keep our kids safe so they don't do the sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Like, obviously, I'm speaking in syllogism. We put up walls to protect our kids, and really that means you and me, right? But as a result, the people that are on the other side of the wall get the sense that we don't care or don't love them or are not interested in them, which might actually be the case for some people. Some churches might just actually not be interested in the people that are outside their walls. See what I did there? Proverbial walls to build up to protect, and then actual walls of the church. Semilog says churches need to be mindful about it and be actively preventing the country club mindset. I agree. But again, how? Because as a young person, it's easy to point out the flaws, right? It's easy to say, oh, this is what the church needs to do. Okay, cool. But how? How do you prevent the country club mindset? How do we build meaningful relationships and interactions with people? Madlove says, well, have you ever been to a church and you see one of those videos of their members or an About Us type of video? It's about happy, shiny people. Shiny. I immediately thought of Mean Girls, the plastics. Shiny people. Which is awesome, he says. But what about the testimony of a heroin addict or former porn actor? Show the before to edify the after. You know, interestingly enough, I have seen that before. I have seen the like literal testimony of the former porn actress. This is how Daniel suggests we show that the church is a hospital for the broken. See, I agree with you there, Daniel. I think that there would be a lot of value in that. But I think the challenge to that, and I'm not saying that this is a bad idea, I think that the challenge to something like that is then we get the sense that, oh, once you come to the church, you're fixed and everything's better. Which to a degree is true, right? Like, I firmly believe that life with Jesus is better than life without Jesus. I believe that when I've given my heart to him, my story has been so much richer and more meaningful, right? But there is also another side to that coin, which we don't talk a lot about. The side of the coin that says that even life with Jesus is still tough, is still difficult. We still struggle with things. There's still a spiritual war. There's a battle going on. And so I think perhaps the challenge to something like that could be someone who's in the church thinks, for one, I don't have a before story like that. I never did drugs. I never did all those crazy things, right? This is actually the literal Facebook thread that spawned these insomniacs' thoughts. But then there's also another sense where, oh, everyone in this building is, maybe they used to not be shiny, but now they're shiny. And as a result, if I'm still struggling, I still don't fit in. You get what I'm saying, Daniel? Andrew says, I see the institutional nature of the church as a stumbling block. Too much red tape. Expand, Andrew. I think I know where you're going with this because you and I have had a handful of exchanges on this. I know that you're a big supporter of kind of the church at home church model, but explain what you mean by that. Stacy says, I've never seen a church without a country club mindset yet. Fair. Let me ask you, Stacy, how many times have you gone out searching for a church that doesn't have that? And how many times, maybe perhaps a more valuable question, how many times have you been part of the church in changing the country club mindset? Sandra, just had a nightmare and then saw this. Sweet. God bless you. Sorry about the nightmare. Was the nightmare when you woke up and you saw me live streaming? That was the nightmare. Daniel Simmons says, my church actually has a night service at the local pub every few months. Very interesting, Daniel. That's very different. than what my church culture would be okay with. I go to the kind of church that says drinking is not allowed, where if you're like employed by the church and you're caught drinking, like you can actually be terminated, you can actually be fired. It's in your contract. But I like the idea, honestly. Jesus was seen hanging out with drunkards all the time, so that's a really cool thing. I'm curious, Daniel Simmons, are there any other stories from that have kind of turned up? Any results from having church at the local pub? Smash Time says, I think there needs to be some young role models in the church in order to influence other young people. Okay, what kind of role models are you talking about? What would that look like? Funnily enough, it's now bedtime in my part of the world. Good night, hat-wearing gamer. Thanks for hanging out with me this morning, or this evening for you. Scott says, as followers, we need to share the gospel relationally because the gospel is something we need to live out each and every day because we will always sin. We can't rely on the building, but rather the people. I agree with this sharing the gospel relationally point, for sure. Oh, Mad Love is asking, where can we find the testimony of the former porn star? Let me find this video. Let's see if I can find. You guys want to watch this video? It's only 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes. You guys want to watch a testimony? Do a vote. Vote yes or no. Here is, actually, let me pull this over here and then do that. And then, there's that one. Let me know. So here it is, in case you want to watch it on your own. ABC News did a piece on From Porn Star to Pastor, how this New York woman turned her life around. Is this something that you guys are interested in watching? Marco says yes, Sandra says no. Only 2 votes, we're kind of split. Gabriel, what's going on, buddy? Hi, buddy. Good to see you. I'm here in my classroom waiting for my class to start in Andrews. Dude, I am sorry that they sent you out to Andrews. It must be getting colder there. Good to see you, Gabriel. I miss you, buddy. If you're ever back on the West Coast, let's hang out sometime. All right, we got enough votes for yes. Let's watch it. All right, what you're about to see is a video produced by ABC News. It's called From Porn Star to Pastor. We are talking about how the church doesn't highlight the stories of people whose lives have been changed from kind of like messier situations. And I said, oh, no, I've actually seen videos of, you know, former porn star give their lives to Jesus kind of a thing. So we'll watch at least part of it. I don't know how much of this is going to be interesting. This wasn't the exact video that I had in mind, but this is the first one that shows up. So we'll watch part of this. I'm interested in hearing what you guys think about this story.
Who was making
let me fix my audio settings so that way it'll be heard on the stream. All right, let's see. Let me know that. Oh, post the link. Good idea. Here is the link in the live chat. Let me know that the audio is coming through nice and loud for this video, okay?
Figures a year in the adult film industry before she decided to make a radical career shift. She became a pastor. Here's ABC's Diane Macedo.
It's Sunday morning and Crystal Bissett cannot be late to church.
Thanks, Maurice.
The 33-year-old mother of 3 and her husband David are the pastors here at New Beginnings in upstate New York. And while Crystal seems to be a model Christian now, it's a relatively new role.
Today we're going to talk about fight, flight, or freeze and have faith.
Until 3 years ago, she was a porn star.
I don't appreciate this body.
Oh,
Her
boy.
screen name was Nadia Hilton, and she starred in
Sorry,
over
guys.
100 adult films.
At some
don't
point,
have
did it all
control
just
over
feel
this.
normal and routine to you?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that now, looking back?
Shocked that my mind and my body got to that point where it's just like, it became like this normal thing.
Crystal says it was also normal for her to make up to $30,000 a month.
Used to go to the Playboy Mansion all the time, you know, and that was like the starstruck thing, meeting Hugh Hefner and everybody. I mean, it was glamorous at times.
Growing up in upstate New York, Crystal says she could never have predicted the twists and turns of her life.
A teenager, I grew up, I was an honor roll student in high school. I was a varsity cheerleader. You know, I was always active that way.
But she got pregnant with her son Justin when she was just 16. So she started
I was not expecting that. That was funny.
stripping to make money and moved to California to give her
The
son
Justin
a better
part,
life.
not
We
the
grew up
story,
poor,
obviously. I'm
very
not,
poor.
like, making
Were you
fun
trying to
of the
give him a
story.
life that you never had?
Yes, absolutely. I was like, I wanted to give him all the things. Like, I didn't have a snowmobile, I didn't have four-wheelers, I didn't have any of that stuff as a kid.
She says an agent discovered her and convinced her to try pornography.
The first shoot was horrible. I was scared. I remember talking to a guy, and he's like, "You don't look like you really want to do this." And I was like, I don't know. I was so nervous. After the shoot, I sat in a shower and I was bawling my eyes out, crying for like 2 hours, just sitting there. Like, I just felt so gross and just dirty.
But you went back. Why?
Money. I went back for money.
I never thought I was going to get Nadia Hilton in front of my camera.
Soon, she was a star.
People recognized you all over the place. It was just weird, you know, because you just think about it. You know, they're recognizing me because of something that is not talent.
But the money was rolling in.
I would spend $3,000 or $4,000 a week.
I'm
at
gonna
the mall.
stop this.
Fine.
Sorry, guys. It's getting a little too much for the channel, I think. Not super interested in showing all that kind of crap. All that kind of stuff. I mean, that's a person's story, so it's not crap. But, you get what I'm saying. Anyways, so there you go, Daniel. There are examples of like former porn stars turned Christian kind of a thing. Oh, now you say. I was thinking more along the lines of people not saved on their opinions on Christianity and how it should be fixed or improved. Okay. That makes more sense. That's more in line with the kind of the initial question that I had at the beginning of this stream. Yeah. I don't know. Is that something that we see in the church at all? Because I've never seen something like that. But I think that's kind of why this series has potential. Sorry, 0 hours of sleep. Dude, why are you awake right now? Like, it's literally like, what, 8 or 9 in the morning for you? You're crazy, man. Go to bed. Get some rest, buddy. Missy says, hi, missed last night. So sad about that, but yeah. It's alright, dude. Happens. Life happens. Work. Working too hard, man. Working too hard. By the way, guys, for those of you guys who don't know, Mad Love is also a fellow Christian YouTuber and a friend of mine from the internet. I've never actually met Daniel. We talked on the phone for the first time this week. If you guys would like to find another Christian YouTube channel, Mad Love, my friend Daniel does a great job. He recently responded to the video of the, is it her name Lisa Gunger, that BuzzFeed did, former megachurch pastor turned atheist or whatever the case is. Yeah, check out his channel. Interesting stuff. In Italy, it's 3 p.m. Right here, it's 6 a.m. now. Yeah. Anyways, just wanted to share kind of what I've been thinking about, what I'm wrestling through, and just kind of this idea that popped in my mind literally this morning at like 5 in the morning. Wanting to do a series focusing around conversations with people. Ideally, people who are not Christians. But I wouldn't be opposed to conversations with Christian or religious folk either. Just trying to listen, trying to learn, trying to get to know people a little bit better. Anyways, with that said, I'll let you guys go. I'm up this early. I might as well do some reading. And yeah. Anyways, thanks guys for hanging out. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for entertaining the insomniac ramblings. I hope you guys have a good day. And I'll see you guys today at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time if you're available. But love to see you guys more often. Thanks for commenting and sharing, guys. God bless. Talk to you guys soon.